Ranked choice voting is a way of voting in which a voter ranks candidates in order of preference. It's also known as instant runoff, and I would encourage you to keep that in mind as we move forward. Ranked choice voting is also known as instant runoff. Instant runoff, you may have participated in one. That seems a more familiar term. So I use those interchangeably to help voters understand how it plays out. So as I've said, probably ad nauseum at this point, but as a voter, you walk into a polling location and you vote as you always would. You pick who you want to win the race, right? And after you pick that initial person, whoever that may be, then you look at the remainder of the candidates and you decide whether, if after that initial round of votes comes in, there is not a 50% plus one majority, you as a voter decide if you've ranked the rest of the candidates, if you are participating in what we're calling instant runoff, right? So what it is you vote for your winner and you rank the ballot, right? And so I'll use the mayoral race because it does have 10 candidates. If you may rank them 1 through 10 in order of preference. And at that point, again, when the results come in initially, we look at the first rankings. The system looks at the first rankings. When those first rankings are counted, if none of the candidates after that first round of rankings has 50% of the vote plus one, then it goes into an instant runoff. So the candidate with the least amount of votes in that first round is eliminated, and their next vote is dispersed among the remaining candidates. We then look at that second round, and if no candidate has 50% plus one of the votes, we look at the lowest candidate, the candidate that had the least amount of votes, and they're eliminated, and their next vote is dispersed into the next round. And that continues until there is a 50% plus one majority. So the races that will be affected are races that have more than 2 candidates, because obviously if you have 2 candidates, you will get a 50% plus one majority. So keep that in mind. I believe the municipal and one of the city council races will not be ranked choice voting. It will be 2 there because there's 2 candidates. Okay? Some frequently asked questions that I've had about ranked choice voting is, this is the number one question, what if I just want to vote for one person? That is fine. The thing we really want to prevent is people feeling some kind of barrier to going to vote because they don't necessarily know how they want to vote the rest of the ballot, or they're unsure what the ballot's going to look like. So we want you to vote. If you want to vote for one person and you want to vote for the one you want to win and not any others, that's fine. Recognize that when you vote for one person, you're not participating in the subsequent runoff elections that would normally take place 45 days later. Runoff elections don't have a very good turnout. The great news about ranked choice voting / instant runoff is that it's happening that very same day, should it go into an instant runoff. The answer to the question is no, you do not have to vote for one candidate, okay? You don't have to vote. Another thing I want to make sure to make clear is you don't vote for a candidate you like the least, number 10. Any ranking on the ballot is a show of support for a candidate. If you are not particular, there's really a candidate for whatever reason you cannot live with, then you should not rank them at all. Again, any ranking gives a show of support to a candidate. Another thing that seems to come up is, what if I vote for a particular person, five number ones, That would just be counted as one time, and it'll be just the same as if you voted for one. You cannot vote for one person multiple times. If you vote number 1, number 3, number 5, number 7, number 9, and you skip the evens for whatever reason, it'll move those up into 1 through 5, right? If you overvote, right, so if you vote all candidates number 1, then that is not read. That will give you an error as well. And overvoting happens in every election, so it will be considered an overvote. Those are some of the questions I've had, including what are the benefits of ranked choice voting, right? And so you're welcome to read about ranked choice voting, but some of the benefits are obviously the cost savings to the municipality. So we estimate that the city of Las Cruces will save approximately $80,000 to $100,000 by not having a subsequent runoff election, because it will be happening the same day as the election. And as the Doña Ana County Clerk's Office is now running the City of Las Cruces election, there's also that cost savings that's built in as well. We are going to do a demonstration of what it's like, what the ballot looks like, what it's like if you actually miss a ranking, what the error tells you on the machine, etc. So with that, I'm going to introduce my Chief Deputy, Lindsay Bachman. She is going to be the live and living person who's going to go ahead and fill out the ballot. And I'll go ahead and narrate it as well as I can.
I also wanted to point out that if you are interested at home, you can look at your sample ballot through nmvote.org. All you have to do is go to nmvote.org, enter some personal identifying information, and you'll be able to pull up a sample ballot that's specific to you. So for those watching at home, I'm about to walk through a ballot live on TV, but you can do it from the comfort of your own home on your sample ballot through nmvote.org.
And while Lindsay starts looking at her options, I wanted to remind voters in Doña Ana County that you can vote anywhere in Doña Ana County. You are not tied to a specific school or voting location. Your ballot is a ballot on demand, so it's voter initiated. You will give identifying information and get a ballot specifically for you. Again, if you live in Chaparral but you want to vote in Hatch, that is fine, because your ballot is specifically based on the address in which you are registered to vote. And with that, I will So it looks like Lindsay's first choice is the tamale or tamal. She really likes rellenos, green relleno. She likes burritos. Burritos are good for her. She can live with red enchiladas. But what I understand from her ballot is she's absolutely against tacos. She's putting no show of support behind tacos, so she's not even ranking that on her ballot.
But I am very hungry.
Yes, so she likes all those things. So what we're going to do now is have her demonstrate what that looks like and what messaging is given to her within the machine. The programming within the machine will recognize the ballot, and so what it's telling me is, I call that the sound of democracy, that little ding. And so the ballot read her 1 through 4, accepted it. Again, if she had ranked 1, 2, it would have accepted it with that ding. If she had ranked 1, 2, 3, it would have accepted that. The prompt that it gives is different when there are other things like a skipped ranking. So you can see what a skipped ranking looks like. And this particular ballot, they skipped number 1. They skipped burrito, and we don't know if they didn't like burrito or maybe they just didn't. We don't know what the voter wants, but let's go ahead and see what the machine tells us about the rankings. And it does feel a little funny to be ranking food, but.
So to be clear, this ballot would be accepted if cast. So let me go back. If you notice in this chart, what would happen is that the tabulator would notify the voter, and I will show this in a second, that they skipped a ranking. Should the voter choose to cast the ballot anyway, even with the error, it would start with the first eligible vote for that round. So let me show you what it does on the tabulator. So it says, warning, skipped ranking, voting issues were found, and then it says skipped ranking again. It shows which contest the skipped ranking occurred in, and it says favorite food, which is the only contest on the ballot. And so you can either choose to return or cast. Let's say that I do want to fix my ballot. I'll click return. I will notify the election official that is beside the tabulator that I'm interested in fixing a ballot on which there's an error. The presiding judge at the location will then take me through a spoiled ballot process. And what that means is that this ballot would be spoiled officially. We would have it in our records that it was spoiled. We would also have the physical paper ballot that says spoiled across it. So